It's been raining in the city. Two homeless men share a bottle around a trash can inferno. The midnight train is whining low. Hello to all and welcome to the Ear-Wicker podcast. Follow along with our host, Vince Corkery, as he discusses a broad range of musical topics, with interviews of top players, club owners, producers, and engineers that make it all happen. Your virtual backstage pass. Remember to like and subscribe to this podcast. And of course, it's free.
Okay, welcome to the Ear-Wicker podcast. And today we have a professional drummer with us. I'm very thankful he's here. Keith Robinson.
All right.
Keith, thanks so much for showing up. I know you're a very busy guy, and you made time to come over, and thank you for that.
Oh, anytime, man.
So, did you grow up in St. Louis? Are you from here?
It's north side of St. Louis.
Okay, all right.
Yes, sir.
All right. When did you start playing drums? What got you going?
Well, when I was a kid, my mom said I used to beat on pots and pans. So at the age of 5, I remember that, the little kid beating on pots and pans. But I got really serious, I guess, around about the age of 7 or 8, when my sister, she was dating this guy across the street, and they had a band. His name was Santa McKinley, and she let me go over to the house with her one time, and they was down in the basement practicing. And I was like, man, that's what I want to do. I love them drums. Seen the guy, he's playing those drums, and I was like, yeah, that's what I like. I want to do that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So right off the bat,
Right off the
kind of
bat.
hit you right there.
Oh, yeah.
So how old were you when you started like playing in bands? Were you in neighborhood bands? Or?
Oh, man. My first professional gig, I was 10 years old. And I went to go play a gig with some of Oliver Sane's guys in Oliver's band, but I really didn't know who they were then. But my sister took me to the gig.
10?
Yeah, I was 10 years old, and I'll never forget the gig. It was on the north side of St. Louis, off of West Florence and Minerva, some street, but it was a hall.
Oh.
And I went in and played the gig. They paid me $75, and my sister took $50 and gave me $25. Oh. She said, "We're gonna save this soon. This is when we're gonna start and saving up and getting your equipment and your drums." I said, "Okay." I never seen that $50. Right.
You got a quick lesson in the music
Oh
business.
yeah, right then and there. Yeah, manage your own self.
That's great.
Yes, sir.
So you mentioned Oliver. So when did you start hanging around with Oliver?
Well, when we stayed on San Francisco, we moved on San Francisco, and a friend of mine, his name was Dwayne Washington, and we was neighborhood kids that played in the neighborhood. And he had a little job around the corner, which was Oliver Sane's studio. And I used to go around, and Wayne used to clean up the building and everything. And I'm like, man, this is right up my alley. And I would go around there with him and help him clean up the building and straighten up stuff. Oliver would pay him, wasn't a whole lot of money. We was just kids in the neighborhood. And Wayne would fill up the soda machine. And when Wayne would fill up the soda machine, in the soda machine, he had this little coin slot and where all the quarters and stuff drop at. So Wayne would get the money and count it. Then he'd take some of the money and put it in his pocket. I said, no, we can't. You can do that. My mama get me for that.
Yeah.
So Wayne was like, I don't care. I'm quitting this job anyway. So I said, well, can I have it? He said, yeah, you can have it. I was about 11 to 12 then. Yeah, 11 to 12. And then I started going around there every day. Wayne introduced me to Oliver. And then I started seeing all the guys, and it was Oliver's studio, in the studio cleaning up, and started seeing different people come in, and Oliver doing sessions. So Mama let me stay around there, but she said, you got to get your schoolwork done. You can go around to Mr. Sane's and clean up. But I didn't know that Mama knew Oliver. Because of the old days, the sock hops shows that Oliver used to play at and that kind of stuff. Mama knew. She said, well, I know that guy. I've been to some of his shows. So that was easy for me. So kind of got me in the door.
Wow. So once you got in, what, you were just hanging around, or
Hanging around every day after school. I would go over and clean up the studio and watch the guys record, rehearse. I mean, everybody would come to the studio. I mean, from Barry White, from the Parliament Funkadelics, Natalie Cole, Ike Turner, Albert King, Larry Davis, Fontella, all the bands, Bobby McClure. Just all the St. Louis greats would come down.
Yeah,
And
wow.
Cleophas Robinson, they kind of got my foot in doing gospel, because Oliver would record all those guys. All the East
all
St.
the
Louis,
gospel,
all the gospel that came in St. Louis. Cleophas Robinson, the O'Neill twins, East St. Louis Gospelettes, just everybody, Fontella's mama. I think it was Martha Bass. Yeah, Martha Bass. I might be saying it wrong, forgive me, but I think it was Martha Bass. You would just see some amazing musicians coming, and then to see, like I said, to see Ike come by the studio, and then Ab and them rehearsing there if they doing the show with Oliver, if Oliver bagging them up, because Oliver was always a bag-up band here in St. Louis. When all the major artists would come to St. Louis, Oliver was the band that they would call to bag 'em up.
Oh,
Right,
bag them up.
yeah.
Okay.
Like he did Smokey Robinson, Millie Jackson, some of everybody. He did everybody. Everybody. I should have brought my list.
No,
up.
yeah. I mean, that's quite a list.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah.
What schooling you were getting? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. We always say that. I mean, Terry Coleman, bass player from St. Louis. When you in that atmosphere around those kind of musicians, I had Kenny Rice was drummer for Albert King. And then Caleb that played with B.B. King. All them guys knew each other. When they would come to St. Louis, I'm sitting in the room, you got these outstanding musicians, famous musicians, and they just, sitting around talking crap. But you getting a lesson at the same time, because they practicing and you watching them. And
Whoa. I mean, that is like behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a lot of people haven't had that experience, I don't think, what I mean? That's pretty amazing.
Right.
So would you say, like, Oliver kind of let you in on this,
Oh, yeah. He was a big mentor of mine. So as growing up in the neighborhood and going over there every day, Sam Harris was Oliver's drummer. And he played on a lot of those hit records that Oliver did. And I was growing up, Oliver would start letting me go to the gigs. So as I started going to the gigs on the weekend, I started watching Sam more and more and more. Then Sam started letting me clean the drums, taught me how to clean the drums, clean the cymbals and that kind of stuff.
Did he know you were playing at that time?
Yeah, they would see me practice in the studio when I was a kid.
Okay.
They would see me mess around, and I'm always in there practicing. Then we got a neighborhood band, so a lot of guys in the neighborhood, we call ourselves playing. I had a friend named Charles Hood. We call him Chippy. He stayed down the street, was a guitar player. And his brother, Big Wayne, played bass. So first song we ever learned was, I think it was Heat Wave, Groove Line. And we played that song for a whole year before we ever went out anywhere. But we would have fun.
Yeah.
But going back to Sam was one of my biggest mentors, just to watch him play every weekend. Craziest thing about getting in Oliver's band, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but getting in Oliver's band was watching Sam every weekend at the Masonic Temple, UAW Hall, all the concerts Oliver used to do out of Winsville. And, then Sam would give me lessons in the studio. Hey, little man, come on, you gotta learn this, Then I had Donnell Wade. He was a famous drummer here in St. Louis, played with a group called 13th Floor. Then he had Bobby, I don't know Bobby's last name, but Bobby was a drummer with Mystic Voyage.
Oh, yeah, I remember that band.
Right, and Bobby, them cats would sit me down and show me stuff, man. They would come up and practice in the studio. But back to Sam, when I would watch Sam so much and learn how to play a shuffle and learn how to play a swing, and they would play everything. The music that they did was just everything. And I would just sit there and watch Sam. And one time they had a gig. You know, them older guys, they like to drink that sauce. So Sam had got kind of wasted. So Oliver said, man, I can't get nobody at the last minute. So he said, well, little man, you been practicing, watching us, and I know you probably should know this stuff by now. I guess. So we do a gig. We go to East St. Louis and do a gig up with the skating rink. And I mean, I was nervous the whole time. The whole time. So when we got there, the place was empty. I'm like, good. So the show didn't go off that night or so. But then I went home and started practicing, watching Sam more. So I said, okay.
Kind of lit you up.
Yeah, be prepared. Yeah. So when I finally got to play with Oliver, it was at a place over in Alton at some hall. He used to do something with Masonic Temple people. So Sam got sauced again. Oh. So I knew the intro to his first song. He would do dun, 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 dun. So I would watch him. I'm watching him all the time because he said, your eyes are your ears. That means they watch all the time so you know what the musicians are doing on stage. So
that's good.
Yeah, I would just follow him all the time. So I did it. Practice. You know, I had a few mistakes, but just watching Sam and listening to Sam all the time, kind of nailed it. Yeah.
Oh man,
that's cool.
That's incredible. When did you get together with Chuck Berry?
Oh man, that was
that how many years after you played with Oliver?
Oh, that was way after Oliver. So,
well, what was going on in between before Chuck?
In between, I was playing with different bands. I played with a group called the Mac Funk Band, which is my godbrother's band. We wound up going to L.A. and working with Taka Boom and different people out in L.A.
Oh.
And
how old were you when you did that?
Oh man, I left school. I was about 16 to 17. Then I came back to St. Louis later. But then how I got with Chuck was I was playing with Arthur Williams, older black guy here in St. Louis, harmonica player, blues guy.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Bob Lord was the piano player for Chuck Berry, and Bob and I will play with different artists from Chicago to St. Louis and different people, Arthur Williams, some of everybody, Larry. So Jim Marcella came out one night to hear me play down at BB's because he was the bass player with Chuck. And at that time, I think the guy that played the Cheetah.
Oh, yeah, Bob Cuban?
Bob Cuban was playing drums with him.
Oh.
So I would go down, like when I would play with Patty and the Hitmen, go back. I was playing with Patty and the Hitmen. I would go down and to the Blueberry Hill and see Chuck every now and then. Then one time with Patty, we had a chance to open up. But I would start playing with Arthur, with Bob. I'm going back and forth.
Yeah.
But Bob said, hey, man, Chuck need a drummer to sub for Bob Cuban. So I said, okay, you know. So Jim came down to make sure I was able to do it because, you know, at that time, Chuck was particular about, you know, certain players and can you play and can you do this and do that on stage.
Was Chuck looking for a certain rhythm style player, like more rock or more shuffle? Or?
Yeah, more so somebody that can just really keep the rhythm and keep that flavor going, the drive for.
Oh, okay.
You know, it wasn't really no special thing.
Oh, okay.
Because most of the time we were just playing shuffles, 4/4, stumping the floor rock beat.
Okay.
And so Jim liked what he heard down at BB's, so we had a good time. And he said, man, well, we got this thing we do once a month at Blueberry Hill. So, you know, can you sub this date? I'm saying, yeah, I can do it. Yeah, I'll make it where it's on a Wednesday night. I wasn't doing nothing on a Wednesday night anyway.
Yeah.
So I wind up coming down and playing that Wednesday. And Chuck liked what he heard. And he kept saying, man, he kept turning around and saying, hey, you the drummer? I'm like, yeah, I guess I'm a drummer. He said, no, you the new guy. Oh. Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay.
Whoa.
Hey, you the drummer. And then he kept saying, man, I like that drive you're giving me. I'm like, okay. So next thing I know, I'm like, hey, man. Joel was like, hey, can you come back next month? Yes. So I came back. So it was like 11 years of coming back.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well,
right.
Yeah, you've been all around the world, too. Which,
yeah.
You know.
Well, with Chuck, Oliver Sane, Johnny Johnson, that played keyboard
Yeah.
in Chuck's band. So,
That's
yeah.
Oh.
So, but Oliver was the first guy I ever traveled the world with.
Oh.
You know.
Really?
Oh,
okay.
yeah. Going to Europe, back and forth to Europe.
Oh.
Yeah, all over Europe. It's everywhere, man. Yeah.
No, did you, I think you told me one time you went to Russia with Chuck.
Oh, yeah. We went to Russia about 3 or 4 times with Chuck.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a different scene, but it's beautiful. Food was good, money was good, and just the atmosphere was a little weird.
Oh.
Because I would always ask him, I would say, hey, man, I don't see a whole lot of me. And he said, not a lot of you here. Oh, okay. Then one guy in the back of the tour bus say, dead.
Oh.
I said, oh, Lord, what did I get myself into?
Oh, man.
But it was good, you know. I learned a lot of stuff in what they call it, the Crimson.
Oh, Kremlin?
The Kremlin, yeah. I had a chance to see that and all the beautiful scenes.
Yeah.
You know,
wow.
and when they truly say it's cold in Russia,
Yeah.
it's cold in Russia. Really cold.
Whoa.
I mean, besides being in Canada, but it's cold in Russia. But I had a good time traveling the world.
Oh, man. I know, too, that you played some with Ike Turner.
Oh, yeah.
You recorded with him a little
Oh,
bit?
yeah. I did Ike's last 2 albums.
Okay.
Was in the studio. Oliver, we had some tracks, but they didn't like, I guess, what the bass player and drummer was doing. And Oliver called me and Jimmy Hines, one of St. Louis late great musicians. He's a bass player that played with Lil Milton, Ike Turner. He played with some of everybody, Fontella, everybody.
Yeah.
And so Oliver called us over and said, hey, man, Ike got these songs. We need bass and drums on it. So we was listening to the tracks, and I brought over my rolling drums and laid down the tracks, and we just nailed it, man. Most of the stuff was just good rock and roll. And,
Oh, okay. Oh.
and a lot of the drums that you hear on the tracks, people don't realize those are rolling drums. And
You
it
mean
sound-
like electronic?
yeah, the electronic kit, because I just overdub over what the other drummer was doing.
I see.
Then I just played to the tracks, me and Jimmy.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that you're going through some medical issues now.
Oh,
too,
yeah.
You know, and you've been dealing with it for 4 or 5 years.
Right.
And you're looking for a new kidney. And
Needing a kidney,
you
y'all.
need to get anybody with B negative, B positive. Is that what it is?
It's B-O positive, B positive.
Oh, okay.
And they say it's a rare form of rare blood, so. But I know somebody got some of that blood out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been going through dialysis, but you know, you got to
yeah.
keep your head up. You know, it's sometimes I have down time, but you know, I just got to keep looking forward, man. You know, get up every morning and just, you know, thank
Well,
God.
your attitude is really fantastic attitude, man. So I look up to you because I don't know if I could do that, but you're doing it. So.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, you know, at the same time I got sick. You know, my wife got sick with breast cancer, so it was hard, man. So you know, we leaned on each other to get through this thing, and that's what got us both through this. You know, she was able to ring the bell.
Good, great.
You know, and I know you know what that's about.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just every day, man. I was at dialysis last night, and I'm always praying when I'm sitting in my seat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, God, you know, I want to get back out on the road, and I want to do other stuff. But if it's fit, I always ask him, you lead the way, because I don't want to get out there and then get a kidney and then things go bad. But like you say, I'm just trying to stay positive.
Yeah, well, good, man. And I know there is a benefit concert coming up sometime, right? For Keith Robinson, right?
Yeah, I think we already did a benefit. I think, well, it's really my birthday party.
Oh, okay.
And I just want people to come out and celebrate. But Tim is saying benefit birthday party.
Is this Tim Albert, you mean?
Tim Albert,
Okay.
band we play with.
Yeah, right,
Uncle Albert. So.
Yeah. So you're having a birthday party. Where's it going to be?
It's going to be at the Sheldon. I don't know the exact. I should have brought some information. At the Sheldon Concert Hall.
Okay.
Have a lot of special guests. We're going to be playing the gospel, a lot of blues, a lot of jazz. I got
Oh, you're getting a lineup, huh?
Oh yeah, I'm getting the lineup. So we got we're the bagging band. So
That's
we got
what I heard. Yeah.
We got a lot of music to learn. Yeah, we got Happy Guitar, Greg Haynes. We got Denise Addy. She's one of our gospel legend here in St. Louis.
Oh, great, yeah.
We got Big George Brock Jr.
Oh.
And special guest Papa Ray is going to be emceeing and playing. And I got Marty Abdullah, Renee Smith, and I don't know, we might have a few other guests, but we don't want to, get too many people where we can't, because we got a lot of music.
That's cool. I did hear maybe in July, is that?
Yeah, July the 7th.
Oh, 7th, okay.
Yeah, it's going to be on a Sunday night.
Sunday night, July 7th,
right.
Sheldon.
At the Sheldon Concert Hall.
Well, that's great. We'll definitely get the word out here.
Right, yeah. Come on out if you're not doing on that Sunday night after church. Supposed to have hopefully we have what they call it, one of those trucks.
Food truck.
Yeah, food truck. I think Happy Guitar, he's talking to his wife.
Oh.
Shirley's Kitchen, some of the best soul food in the city of St. Louis. Yeah.
Well, that should get some folks out there.
Oh,
right
yeah.
there.
Yeah, that'll work.
Heck with the music.
You're right. Some good chicken and greens and potato salad.
Oh, that's great.
Right.
Well, let me ask you, what inspires you to keep playing the drums? What do you think it is?
Oh man, just the love of it. I've been doing this so long. I just love it, man. I remember my mom used to always say, "No, don't ever stop your dream. Just keep doing what you're doing. You love it." She said it was in you when you was a kid. I was banging on my pots and pans. So I just love it, man.
Yeah.
Tracy always say when I can wake up in the middle of the night in the commercial and just wake up, and if I hear a drum part, now I didn't know I was doing it. She said, if you hear anything with some drums you like, you'll wake up out of your sleep.
Wow.
And I guess that's just the love of music.
Yeah. Wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, do you have a worse gig? Comes to mind? You ever have a?
Oh man, I had a lot of those gigs. Well, I had one of them was in Peoria, Illinois. I never forget. We was opening up for Steve Miller, Arthur Williams, and us. And I don't know what the sound man problem was. He just I just couldn't get it. I'm like, all the other bands sounded great and everything. And by the time we got up on the stage, it's like he didn't want to do. He didn't want to work with us. I'm like, hey man, don't be tripping like this. And I'm steady asking him for stuff. Hey, we need to hear ourselves monitors and. I'm saying, hey, my monitor's not working. I need to hear the vocals in my kick drum, snare drum, and hi-hat. He's working. He's working. I said, no, it's not on. And we got like 5 or 10 minutes before the show start because we don't want to make the next band, which is Steve Miller, late.
Yeah, right.
We'd open the band. And I don't want to make him mad. So the guy kept just, messing around. So. Next thing you know, I jumped off my drum riser, and I'm over there with these DC drumsticks and about to knock him upside his head. I'm like, when you got 4,000 or 5,000 people looking at you, and it's not looking good. So I'm like, but I had to get him straight. He got fired because, the road stage manager's like, hey, man, give these people what they want. And I'm telling them, I'm tapping microphones, and it wasn't working. I'm like, the guy just made him get off the monitor board. But, you run into that kind of stuff, and then in my brother's band, my godbrother band in L.A., the whole band was fighting with the next band. It's just over crazy stuff, man. I remember doing one thing when President Carter was in office, and we walked on stage, and they was having a political thing, and they wouldn't let us come up on stage after we did sound check and everything. They wouldn't let us come up and play our instruments on the stage, and we were like, man, we're going to play these instruments. They're our instruments.
Yeah.
But all kind of crazy stuff happened, man.
I remember one story you told me about playing, I think it was with Oliver Sane, at a picnic or something out in the country, and they're like, don't eat all our food.
Oh, yeah. That was
it the bikers or something?
Yeah, it was kind of gig, Yeah, it was one of those gigs where we wasn't supposed to be there, but they liked our music, and the guy say, don't drink up all the beer, don't eat up all the chicken, and please don't mess with our women. I was like, okay, well, as long as you got our money.
That'd be kind of scary.
Right, it was one. And we actually played the gig where the Blues Brother played. That club is real.
Oh, yeah.
where the barbed wire is on the stage.
Yeah.
That's a real club. Yeah. And when you're not playing honky tonk or no good blues or good country stuff, they'll let you know.
Oh.
Yeah, they, and all of us say, hey, we're going to do a honky tonk. What else he say? Some green onions and some other stuff. And hey, they loved us.
That's good.
Yeah, you guys are great.
Oh.
You great. So, okay, hey, they like us.
It's nuts.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Now, conversely, do you have like a best gig? Has anything come to your mind?
Oh, my best gig, man. I guess because my favorite, first time I ever met, I was playing a club in New York with John Mayall and Johnny Johnson and Johnny Copeland.
Wow. John Mayall.
Yeah, John Mayall.
From England.
Mm-hmm. And Johnny Copeland, Johnny Johnson.
Whoa.
And it was at this club, and it was, I forgot the name of it. They used to have this big praying mantis or something on top of the building. It was so weird. But it was a nice big blues club. I mean, it was just incredible, man. And the guy that's playing with the Mule, is a band called The Mule or something. He's a guitar player, played with the Allman Brothers. And he's...
Oh, yeah, that's... the government mule.
Government Mule, right.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the big guitar player in that band. He was playing with John Mayall. And man, them cats, man, they was killing it, man. And that was just one of my, I just will never forget that gig. And the bass player that played on Conan O'Brien's show, he played with Johnny Copeland. Yeah, he played with Johnny Copeland and John Mayer. Not John Mayer, I said. Mayall, yeah. And that was one of my, the gig was just incredible.
Wow.
But walking in the door was Charlie Drayton and Steve Jordan. That's when I first met Steve Jordan.
The drummers.
The drummer, you're right. Whoa. And Johnny kept saying, hey, I'm going to introduce you, because I kept telling him, I say, man, because at that time, Johnny had just started back really getting out there when he did Talk Is Cheap with Keith Richards.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Steve had produced that album with him and Keith Richards.
Yeah. That was Keith's solo blues record.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good record.
And that's when Johnny introduced me to Steve Jordan. And
he came to, and he was there, and you
Oh,
were
yeah,
playing?
he came out to meet me, man, and we talked and everything. And him and Charlie. Charlie was another drummer from New York that played with some of everybody. And as a matter of fact, he still plays. I haven't talked to him in years, but, I stay in touch with Steve. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Cool,
yeah.
man.
Matter of fact, I'm going to call him sometime soon, because a good friend of mine, we're supposed to drive up to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We want to go up there and take pictures. And that weekend, that's when the Rolling Stones is going to be there. So.
Well, he's the drummer for the Rolling
Right.
Stones.
Yeah, Steve is the new drummer for the
That's
Stones.
right.
You're
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I think you told me they put him on retainer.
Oh, yeah. He make pretty good money. Lots of money. Yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool. All right, I'm going to ask you one more thing. If you could go back in time, would you follow the same musical path?
I guess I would.
It'd be hard not to. What you've been through.
Oh yeah. I would love, because it's been a good journey for me to be able to learn the stuff that I've learned around some of the greatest musicians. I mean,
You couldn't get that education.
Oh.
You couldn't buy that. You just couldn't. You couldn't.
No.
You couldn't create it.
Nope. We used to 4521 Natural Bridge. That was the Archway Studio.
Oh, okay.
That was Oliver Sane's studio. I mean, you like say all the musicians of that era, if they was in this room right now, they would tell you at that studio. I mean, it was a school. It was really a school.
Everybody was there. Right?
Oh yeah, everybody. Some of the youngest hot bass players that you notice, Darryl Mixon and Terry Coleman, and I can go on with so many names. Young gospel drummers that came out of there. And Amos Brewer, late great Amos Brewer, saxophone player.
Oh wow, yeah, wow.
And it was just. You
should write a book, huh?
Oh yeah, if I get time.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot.
It is.
That's a lot of history, music history in America. I mean, it's pretty amazing. Well, Keith, thanks so much for coming by and
thank you for having me, brother.
And, spend some time. That's really cool. And remind me, Sheldon, July 7th.
Sheldon, July the 7th.
Sunday.
I think it's going to be from 3 to 7.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah.
It's your birthday.
Well, it's my birthday. I'm July the 11th, but we just having it on the 7th because that day was available for us.
Yeah. So close enough.
Right.
But it's celebration. And,
Lord's will. I'll be 60 years old,
all
man.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
Well, hopefully we'll have some good news on that. And a lot of people show up. And,
Right.
You know, help you out. You know what I mean?
Thank you, brother.
All right. Well, thank you, Keith.
All right.
And we'll see you at the next gig.
Yes, sir.
Remember to like and subscribe to this podcast, and we'll see you backstage.